Some of the topics we're talking about in today's episode may be sensitive for some listeners, so listener discretion is advised. There is a perfect example of motherhood out there. We've all felt its presence. It lingers in our social media feed, in the products we buy, the answers to the questions we research. Even though we know it's not real, we feel it spotlight what we could be doing better.
Join two best friends as they step off the stage of motherhood and go behind the scenes with moms from different walks of life.
The Momcult Podcast. Real moms, real talk, real tired. Here we go, episode 3. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers. Cheers for episode 3 and cheers for putting the podcast out today, officially.
Episode 1.
Even though it was
guys.
9 months ago. It's taken us.
Hey,
Wait, was it?
Penny's almost 9 months.
Wow, you guys.
And we did it. No,
birthed
sorry.
something.
7 months.
Anyway.
Or whatever. She was 3
Still,
months
good
old
job.
for the first episode.
Yeah.
So that's how much more complicated this is than I anticipated.
Yeah, that makes no sense. That was 7 months ago, but you're right.
Yep, it's ridiculous. Our guest today is the lovely Shannon Ware. Hello, Shannon.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for being with us today. Check in. Sarah, how's your week?
I wanted to make this funny, but then on the way over here, I was thinking about it. I thought about it yesterday when it was happening. Anyway, I'm like internally having a panic attack to say this out loud, but so I'm going to up the vulnerability factor for myself, which I don't like to do, and I'd rather make it funny. Anyway, Parker yesterday morning at 9 a.m. ate about half, I don't really know because it's powder, but he ate one of my Vyvanse ADD pills.
Oh.
So had at least some of that in his system. And so for the next 14 hours, that was what life was. So I went to the bathroom. I left it on, not just the pill itself, but I have like a little bowl. It was like in the center of a counter that he would not have been able to reach a day ago, I feel like. And then he could. So I went to the bathroom, was gone about a minute. And when I came back out, he was underneath the island smiling, holding this little, it's like an antique cup where I put like my vitamins and my Vyvanse the night before. And his mouth was blue. I pulled it out, not blue, wait. He could breathe.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The pill is blue.
Right. I that's what I assumed when you
Stop.
said that.
I'm panicking like now about just hearing that his mouth was blue. That's just not. Anyway, he was smiling, and anyway, so I pulled it out, called poison control immediately, and just went into this completely calm mode and thought, okay, we're going to the hospital. But poison control said just monitor him for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And anyway, it lasted longer than 6 hours, but I think that's the period where they were concerned, and he was fine. He was just extremely focused. He built the same Lego tower over and over, and
Start him young, man.
you know, I mean, I guess
Is this a cautionary tale or advice?
both. It's both. And I guess I'm just going into episode 3 losing, just fully letting go of all credibility. But you know, and on the way over here, I thought about yesterday. It seemed funny and not funny. Wait, not in the moment. It seemed terrifying. And then I was thinking about how to talk about it today if I wanted to. And then this is the first time, I said right before we sat down, I'm going to tell a story when I get in here. And this is the first time that I'm feeling it. And obviously that's horrifying. And there was only guilt yesterday. It was like I could feel the guilt a little bit and I couldn't really be in the moment. And my point is, obviously keep shit away from your kids that and everybody knows that, but I just don't assume that they can't reach things for what it's worth. Just like learn from that mistake. And also it is mind-boggling to me because I'm someone who has to work really hard to like control my emotions or to the best I can or to manage them in what being a mom does to your system. I just there wasn't time to feel it. Like I just was only doing life and taking care of him and making sure he was okay. And I didn't cry at all. And I just, anyway. So that's shorter than I thought it would be. So I wanted it to be funny, but it's only vulnerable. And there you go.
So sorry that happened to
I know,
you.
it's so scary.
I'm sorry it happened to him, but anyway, there you go.
Well, Penny crawled off the bed and fell onto our tile floor for the same reason. Like, oh, she just stays here and she plays and she can't really move until all of a sudden they can move. And the only way that you know that they can move now is by them doing something that you should have been monitoring better.
I remember Benji went back to work. It was the first day he went back to work after we had Elsie, and she was in one of those little rocker swings, and I didn't strap her in because she was 6 pounds.
Totally.
Right.
And
not
she, like,
rolling or anything.
She fit in the nook of it. Like, there was no way she was going anywhere.
Sure.
Went to the bathroom, came back. She's laying on her back underneath it, flat on the floor, but like on the little metal bar ring.
Is it still
thing.
like swinging
The
over
thing
her
was
head?
still swinging, and
Just,
she's
like,
down
hitting her
there
every time.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how did this happen? It was just the
I
bathroom.
swear.
Oh my God. It's just, we can't be with them all the time.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just keep like,
But do you know that
spikes and
feeling
things.
when you're like going through something and then you see your best friend or you see your mom and you just like,
yeah.
all of it comes because you finally feel like you're in a safe place to where it's okay. Like, okay, everything's fine. We're going to move on from here. Now I can feel it. But don't you also feel like we've been in that for like a year and a half? You're just like, okay, so we're going to survive probably. Now we can feel it. And then you're like, nope, zip it back up. We got a new thing.
I can't feel it yet. It's still
okay,
still
we're
in
still
it.
going? All right, here we go. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Yes.
I remember, Sarah, when I've had 2 miscarriages between my first and my second child. And the first one was more intense because I had to have a D&C. So, just knowing like, oh, I'm going to be put under anesthesia for the first time. And I remember going into that ultrasound and it taking a really long time for them to say anything. And already in my head, I was like, this just doesn't feel right. And so I didn't even let her get the words out of her mouth. She was like, well, we're not. And I was like, hearing a heartbeat. And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. Again, like complete survival mode. And, not knowing how to even process, like, am I relieved? Am I sad? Am I whatever? All the things. And Jeremy and I were sitting in the car and I had to call pretty much right away. I had to book an appointment to get a D&C, preferably later that day. But Jeremy kept being like, are you okay? How are you feeling? Do you want to call anybody? Do you want to let anybody know? And I picked up my phone to call you and immediately was just like, I can't do it. Like, I didn't feel any of the emotion until I realized I'm going to have to say these words out loud to somebody else. It's like until you get that level of perspective of your own situation, almost like why watching movies can make us cry than when we're living it in our own life in real time. It's wild. But I'm really sorry that happened.
No,
and
I'm
that
just so
happens to
grateful.
everybody all the time.
Thanks.
And you're not
It's like cocaine
a
usually.
shitty
but
mom.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a really good lesson because I think I am a little lax with. He seems so aware.
Yeah.
So I trust him more than I should trust like a 2-year-old. Not that it's his fault that he shouldn't be trusted. It's just anyway.
Well, we get comfortable with whatever phase they're in,
Yeah.
and we don't know that the rules need to change until they break a rule, and then we
Absolutely.
go, oh, okay, I guess now we're moving up to this level of safety in the house. I mean, it's just
Right.
it's
Yeah.
learn as you go. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, for sure.
So your week's been great.
Otherwise,
fun.
I'm jealous.
okay. Next,
Me, I feel fine today, but the last couple weeks have been a pretty low point. And I'm only saying that I was also on my period, which is not to negate how I was feeling, but it was my first period since before I got pregnant. Like, 8 months in to a baby. So who knows the extreme level of hormones that were running through my body. But I am struggling with, it doesn't matter that they're 8 years apart. Adding a second kid is just a whole different ball game. And also with the second kid, for the first time, I'm trying to build a career and, do things like just starting the podcast, which just has required more, I guess, motivation and focus. I was thinking about you, Shannon, a lot this week because you've always been a working mom for the most part and working from home a lot. And I was just getting really overwhelmed, feeling like I have only 2 modes. And the first one is I'm on the couch all day for days in a row watching the pile of mess around my house build, having no control over any space and feeling completely paralyzed by the mess. Like I can't I feel like I can't even make a dent in anything. So then I just can't, I don't even want to try.
True. Me too.
And the other mode is when I'm busy and I'm like, okay, I need to get this done, I need to get this done, I need to get this done. Even if there are things that I want to do, like the podcast or working on scene work or getting an audition done, I then feel like I'm being pulled in a million different directions. And no matter which avenue I take, I'm failing on a different avenue. And I'm so happy to have that option this time, because with Ava, it was just stay at home all the time, and that has its own challenges. And I also, like, I don't want to be a 50s mom where it's like, this is your role, end of story, here's just the rest of your life. I'm so grateful to be in a generation where we have more options and we can pursue the things that we love, but I am starting to realize the downfalls of that option as well, and that it's like, well, I can't be all the things, and that is frustrating in itself. So, I don't know, just trying to navigate that for the first time, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought about you a lot this week, just being like, I don't know how the hell you've been doing this, because I'm definitely not working.
Not well, bitch.
Definitely not working nearly as much as you do, or have people like, you know, this has to be done by this day and this has to be done by this day. Like, everything I'm doing is malleable as far as scheduling and working around the kids and whatever. But I mean, the day that we were trying to promo the podcast, I felt like I was on my phone all day and was just like, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
But I mean, emotionally, I'm feeling a little more stable, and I had a good morning. But
Yeah, I feel ya.
I think that one thing that they don't tell you, nobody tells you, or maybe they do and you just don't understand it until you actually have kids, that you have to choose every moment, everything that you do. Like, I don't know if you guys are like this too, but every single decision I make, every single one, to what time I'm going to wake up in the morning, like when I'm going to get my workout in, like what am I going to have for dinner, what am I going to do this, like do I have time to fit in that call? Like, my kids are the first filter that goes through of like, how does that affect my kids? Okay, well then how does that affect Benji? And it's just like, I have to go through this thing of like, kind of like a risk versus reward situation of like, okay, so that won't kill them. It'll be disappointing, but like, it's fine. Or like, maybe I'll put a Lunchable in their lunch and not make lunch, or they can eat at the cafeteria. It's like, you have to make a choice all the time.
yeah, there's a sacrifice happening at all times.
Yeah, all the time.
And I do have to keep reminding myself, I don't remember, like, I know they're not retaining the decisions I'm making the way that I am retaining them.
You don't have Elsie as a daughter, because she is.
Thank God.
She is just soaking it all in. Okay,
Soaking in all your failings.
One? Great, yeah. And
So
then
you
Maisie's
chose
the one
this
that
over
vocalizes
me.
them to me, so it's great. Do you remember whenever you did this really bad?
Mom, remember that time you chose to go get drinks with your friends instead of hanging out with me?
Do you remember whenever you were like, had too much to eat the night before? Air quotes, too much to eat the night before, and you laid in bed all day long?
Okay, Shannon, tell us about yourself.
No. Only any funny stories? What's going on with you? How's your week?
This week is okay. It's following a really hard week, so I think anything would feel better. I don't feel comfortable asking for help, and I've definitely been in a mode to where I have been like, I require help. And I think that that's been like this season of life is just, in my head, I've done it all on my own all the way up until this point. And now that work is like picking up and all these different extracurricular, like nonprofit, like efforts, volunteer stuff that I just love doing, it's all like building up at the same time to where I'm just left holding all these things. And then at the end of the day, I like get all the stuff done. I just like plow through my list, and then I'm left completely depleted. I have nothing left for my kids, nothing left for my husband, and I'm just kind of over it. So hired a cleaning company to come back and help with the house, and that's been like a huge lift. Highly recommend it, because there's nothing that puts me in a bad mood quicker than watching something I just cleaned immediately get messed up again.
Yeah, we've been talking about.
Yeah, it's
trying
just
to
like
do that.
this sense of control that I need in all these different areas, to where it's like I'll make a very detailed, literally like every 30 minutes, of my day is planned out from the second I wake up until I feel like I can be done for the day. And then I leave that day, I end that list of just feeling like I could have done more. And I wake up in a panic at 2:30 in the morning thinking, oh my God, I didn't do that. And so through therapy, I'm realizing that this is my anxiety, like pleading for help. And so I'm just trying to make changes. I don't know exactly what that looks like right now, but just try to step back from a few things and figure out like what truly brings me joy. And what fills me up. And I don't know. I just like, I feel like I'm in a place where I don't have a lot of answers, but I know something needs to change.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I know you'd said that something in the first podcast affirmed changes that you were already trying to make. What?
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. I wish that
specific?
I could just like, we could just play clips of that.
I'm guessing.
And then I can like be part of the conversation.
While my sister is talking.
Well, all of it. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you say about Ava, just because Elsie and Ava are the same age. And oh, by the way, I have 2 children. Maisie is 5 and Elsie is 9. And they are polar opposites from each other. So that's always fun. But no, she said something about how the moment where she felt like she was done for a time period, like with my 9-year-old. When they got old enough. Yeah, they're old enough. She's like making her own food and she's walking to her friend's house and she's like making plans. And of course, I have to tell her no, but she makes lots of plans. But she just like has a social life and she has all these activities and she's just so good at everything she puts her mind to. So I don't want to tell her no with all these extracurricular things. But then she also has high anxiety that we're working with a therapist on. And so it's like filling up her schedule is not healthy for her. All of these different things. But realizing that I've been so focused on all of these other things happening in my life that are growing and kind of to the point where I've wanted them. Like, I want to be clear, I've been working my ass off to get these things to where they are, but now that they're there, it's not satisfying. And so I realized that I'm missing out on this moment with my daughter, that she is fun and she has a personality and I can have conversations with her. She gets jokes finally, like she can be sarcastic finally. She doesn't take things too seriously.
Helped out with that.
She said something about how they form attachments with their like digital identity. Yeah. And Elsie's natural, like she just loves to find information about things. Like she'll have a question and I never want her to stop. She'll be like, oh, I'll just Google it. So she'll just go and like find the answer. She wants to do something at gymnastics. So she watches YouTube videos obsessively until she gets it. But I couldn't help but just feel that like, oh, when she said that she's looking for something that I'm not giving her. And it was just like an awakening. And it was within days that I like claimed something in therapy that I've been thinking about for a long time. And finally this past week, like I claimed it in my professional life of something that like I'm suffering. Like I need help.
Good for you. I'll help you. I don't have any time or energy, but I'll try.
Oh man. Yeah, it's just not easy. No. Not easy.
I watched the Val Kilmer documentary this week, and it's just, it's just his life on video camera. And so you're watching this person on, closer to the end of their life, reminiscing about their whole life. And he was the first, one of the first people he knew to have a video camera. So he had it on all the time. And I'm just like watching these home videos of him and his kids. And I'm knowing how he's feeling watching these videos. And I was just like, I just lost it at the end of the movie, because I was like, I'm living the part of my life that I'm going to look back on and be like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful time. And I'm like, I can't enjoy it. It's so hard for me to enjoy being where we are. And I hate that. I mean, there's moments every day that are beautiful and sweet.
Right. Doesn't Charlotte say on Sex and the City that what was it when she was asked like how much she loves her husband, or if her and her husband love each other? And she's like, every day. Not all day, every day, but every day. But I like think about that quote all the time whenever I'm like, my life, like I love my life, not all of it every day, but like not all parts of it.
Right, right.
I relate to what you said about joy, finding joy and being in it, getting things done, checking things off. Like that entire thing makes complete sense to me, and it's crazy. it's amazing and commendable that you've been doing that for it's 8 years without help. I mean, with, your support system, but not, like bringing in a cleaning, all those things. It's a lot. It's a lot to carry. My point is I don't know what I mean. You're winning is what you're doing it better. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
You're winning.
And to your point, Joy, I mean, I guess this one's just going to be just vulnerable and crying, but
I know we've all cried. So.
I've been waiting for an episode where
crying.
Where we're just crying the whole time.
I would not
complaining.
No, well, okay, good. So on that point, I'm just going to run through it. I'd love to make this funny also, but don't know how.
It's not the time, Sarah.
Because when I was 24, I lost a baby, which is true. Because of that, my perspective, something about that shifted when I had Parker. And so I do stay, and I do consciously do it. Like last time I talked about doing mantras and stuff, and I kind of rambled and whatever. I consciously go to a grateful place. It's not always easy to do that. And I'm not being like, go to a but I am kind of saying I do consciously go to that place and go, it's so fleeting. Like every second is so fleeting. Like I take way too long putting him down, and somehow that's a gift. I do feel grateful for that. Also, like my heart hurts all the time because it feels like it's gone already. But fuck.
I know. Well, and just like this insane amount of privilege that we have to be able to make these choices for ourselves. And I think that's the thing that's been just like slapping me in the face the past couple of weeks, of just the fact that life doesn't have to be hard for me. And I don't mean that, I do not take that statement for granted at all. But I'm in a position to where I have an incredibly supportive partner who can provide for our family. And I don't have to be doing this to myself. Like, I don't have anything to prove anymore. I think for a while I was really afraid that my entire identity would be wrapped around being a mother. And that terrified me because Elsie was not planned. We conceived like on our second date. And we didn't get married until she was 18 months old. Like, it was not the typical entrance into family life for me.
Right.
And I never wanted children. I had a very traumatic miscarriage between Elsie and Maisie. Like, there are all these things that I've just constantly been thinking like, okay, well, my work and my professional career and like my efforts in the community, like all these things will make up for the fact that like, I'm not just a mom. Like, I'm all these other things too. And now I'm to a point where I am just like depleted.
Right. We're stretching ourselves too thin.
And I just like, it doesn't have to be this hard.
Yeah.
Like, I can make choices. I can make changes to where I find a balance with work. I figure out what I still want to be doing with that. I figure out which organizations truly fill me up. Like, which that sounds incredibly selfish.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
though? Like,
I
to
think
where
you
it's like,
have to.
I don't need to be spending all my time at like every single PTO meeting and all the things with it's, you know what I mean?
I think our generation has had the privilege of options, but we've probably tipped the scale a little too far to the other side, where now moms feel this expectation to be it all and to do it all. And that's just impossible.
I know. Like, I think about that all the time. I think about friends in my life who just don't have the options that I do. And I just like...
And then you feel guilty.
Of course. I do feel guilty.
But stressed about your own situation.
Yes, all of it. I feel like ashamed that I'm complaining.
Right,
I feel guilt. I also feel like an asshole. Like, I just feel like all the things. But at the same time, I can't carry that. Like, I can only be good for me so that I can be good for other people too.
Right.
And that sounds so cliche, and you read it on all the graphics on Instagram, like, take care of you first.
Right.
Fill yourself up. All
Treat
these things.
yourself.
Yeah. Which, like, I get it. But it's true, though. Like, I'm no good to anybody right now.
Oh, I know. I'm feeling that energy as we speak.
I always say, I probably say it in like 3 different moments of the day, a list of things I read to let me know I'm okay, to put my own mask on first. And I think that helps a lot. Yeah. I mean, or I don't know. That's
because you travel a lot?
Yes. That's what I mean.
Did you see that?
She just, what did it, snotted?
I just looked down and had that, like, just the loose snot that just leaves your nose without any warning.
And where did it come from?
Kind of like shitting your pants.
This is all my least favorite
just out of your
content.
nose.
just crying and
Oh my
poop
God.
talk.
Seriously.
Well, yeah, that was a post-crying snot drip.
I know. Well, maybe it'll be good.
Okay, Shannon.
Yeah, let's see what else you got for me. How else can I bring this down?
So,
No, I think this
yes,
is good.
I would love to hear.
Is it?
I would love to
No,
hear
it
more about your becoming a mom experience, since it's so
It's quick.
unique and happened so fast.
It did happen so fast. Yeah, Benji was my date to a wedding.
How long had you?
And the magic happened.
How long had you guys known each other before the wedding?
So I had a rough handful of years in my late 20s where I was not able to find any of my freelance work, and I was having a hard time covering paying my bills, so I moved back home, which was the same summer that Bridesmaids came out. And we left the movie theater and my mom said to me, "You don't feel like her, right?" And I was like, "Now I do." Anyways, I had met Benji before that because he's best friends with my best friend's husband, and we had hung out a few times, but I never really, I don't know, just no sparks were there. And then one night right before I moved, we were hanging out at their house, and he and I just happened to just like start talking, and like he made me laugh so much I was like, man, he's like really funny and cute. And so I started to develop a crush on him literally days before I moved to Florida. So we had a very intense text relationship that got really deep really quickly because his dad got sick right that summer too. He was diagnosed with cancer, and it was like a very fast progressing disease for him, and it was rough, and I was having like a very vulnerable, like kind of rock bottom summer. So we both just kind of met each other there, and we were there for each other, and you can be a lot more honest and vulnerable over texting. Come to think of it, like all of our heavy conversations are over text, which I don't know how healthy that is, but we get it done. We'll get to that later. Yeah. Not this podcast. No, but he just like, I just fell in love with him. It was like the summer of weddings, so I was back and forth to Nashville like 5 times, and he was my wedding date for that summer, and one magical night, God looked down on us. No, I'm just kidding. No, and then I found out I was pregnant at the next wedding. Like, literally, Maggie and I took pregnancy tests together because I didn't think I was, and then I had all the symptoms, and I had already taken a test, but it was, like, not really positive. And she goes, I think we should do that again. So we both had one false, one positive. Speechless. We told Benji, was like, the test is in there, like, I couldn't even talk about it. And he goes into the bathroom, he's like, there's 2 of them! Like, which one is
one am I
mine?
supposed to look at?
Yeah. So anyways, the first thing I said was, I don't even know your mom's name. Like, I was just like so devastated at the fact that his parents were just going to be like, no.
Right.
Absolutely not. But that was not the case. I threw up all the way to Meridian to meet them. I had really bad morning sickness, all of my pregnancies, all of them. And he, like, waited until after lunch to tell her, so I kept having to hide the fact that I was puking every 2 hours. And, like, we went to Chili's for lunch, and I just had soup that I just kept smelling instead of eating. I, like, vividly remember the smell of that soup, too, because I was so stressed out. It was, like, I was terrified. I'm like, where am I going to stay tonight? Like, what am I going to do?
Soup?
I'm in a city I've never been in. I don't... It's chili, so, like, probably chicken tortilla?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, white bean.
Yeah.
Like a chili? Gross. Oh, God. No, but he was up there for way too long, and then came downstairs. His mom was arms full of baby albums and was just like, I'm so excited. Here's Benji's baby pictures. And I don't know, they just accepted me immediately. And we've just been each other's person since then. Had Elsie. His dad was able to meet her, which I'm so grateful for.
What was, I mean, the first time we met was, how old were the girls? 3 months, maybe?
Probably a little older, because
Maybe
Ava
older?
was, like, sitting up in the bouncy seat.
Okay.
So a little older than that. I do remember within, like, 10 minutes of meeting you, you let out the most insane burp. And I'm sitting in my living room across from this woman.
Who have I let into my house?
I'm just like, do I say something? Do I say excuse you? Like, I don't know what to do here. I was just
she
like,
didn't.
yeah. So that What was that?
Oh, no.
Has that happened on this before?
No. Well, I used to never really be in any new scenarios, but once I started meeting new people outside of the people I already know, now it's like I purposely keep that to myself until I'm like comfortable or someone knows me better, and then I'm like, oh yeah, you haven't heard this
I thought
yet.
you were going to say, I just get it out of the way, like first hang.
Yeah.
Apparently that's what I used to do.
Joy, for anyone who doesn't know, just she burps really loud and doesn't say excuse me.
It's just part of...
No, I do not.
It just happens. And then for a while, Elsie kept making herself burp out loud. There was like a time period where she was hanging out at your house a lot, and I'd go, listen, that's not happening here.
We don't do that in our
We're
house.
not doing that here. Maybe over there, but not here. I didn't really say that.
I said that.
No,
It's funny.
Yes, Shannon was one of the first. Nobody was really having kids when we had our kids. All of our friends were still partying and living the single life. So we had a mutual friend connect us, and it went great because we hung out that one day, and then we didn't hang out again for like 3 years.
It was that burp.
She was like, no.
I'm like, no, I can't do
I
that.
can't do this.
If she has no control over that, what else does she have no control over? So we had Elsie. She was in our wedding, which I'm so... Again, it's just like all these perfect moments. Like, she's been a part of all of them, which I just love that. I don't know. I mean, like, as much as I've been complaining about this life, I wouldn't give it up for anything. Like,
Right.
She saved me. Like, completely saved my life.
Yeah. Agreed. Not for your life.
Yeah.
But yes.
She saved yours, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's really powerful kid.
She is.
I relate to everything that you say about her. She makes a lot of sense to me.
Was the transition, what was that transition like into just becoming a mom for the first time for you?
Well, I let her fall week one.
Right.
So there's
Yep.
that.
Yep. Good start.
I don't know. I think that it's just survival mode those first few months. So you're just kind of like, you don't know any better. You don't know any different. You're just kind of like, this is my job now. Like, I have to keep this thing alive no matter what. And then like 3 months goes on, and then you find yourself like nursing in the room crying. You're like, why am I crying?
Why am I crying all the time?
Why am I always sad? But then you just like, again, you just get to these moments where you just can't help but ask for help. You know, it's like you just get to a point where you're like, it's again, survival mode. I can't do this by myself. Like, yes, I have an amazing partner, but like, I need a friend who's been here. Like,
Yeah.
I need somebody who understands what it's like to be on a schedule to feed a human.
Yeah.
And to be in pain all the time. And then to also feel like you're failing, because my nursing journey was like so insane with her. I went to a lactation specialist a couple of times. I also, like, at the moment, there was another mom friend who was putting so much pressure on me to just like keep fighting through it. And I'm just like, but I'm so like, it hurts.
But I just don't want to do it
And
anymore.
it's not working. Like, she's losing weight. Like, this
Right.
isn't working for us. And so I started supplementing like really early on. And then Elsie got like really chunky, which is funny because she's such a little string bean now. But she had this moment where she was just this little like
Butterball.
butterball. Yeah. And I look back and I was like, it's that damn formula.
Yeah.
It did
It works.
It works. No, it's just like, again, it doesn't change. Like, those first days and months and years of motherhood, like, the pressure and stress does not go away. It just changes. Like, it just shifts into a different form.
Right. Different version.
To where
depending on what age
it's
they
like,
are.
oh God, they're going to die. And then with being a toddler, oh God, I'm going to die. And then it's like, then they get to school age or like preschool age. And then you're just like, okay, I just need you guys to do this so I can do this. And then you miss out on all these years because you just go to daycare. Like,
You're so ready
I just
for them
need
to start
space.
their own life.
Yeah.
And you just want, I just want no one to touch me.
Yep.
Like, Ava's will tug on me still. And I have to look at her and be like, please do not tug on my arm. I will come over to what you need me to see. But like, I cannot handle being physically pulled on. I know. Anymore.
And then you say these things out loud and it's just this instant like, oh God, what is that going to do to her psyche? Because at this age, they're so...
absorbing.
They're just these sponges, and they're saying all the bad words, and they're asking questions about songs they're listening to, and they're wondering why they're kissing this way and not kissing this way on TV, and it's just like, holy shit, just watch cartoons and like stop.
Yes.
Like just stop. You're still a kid. But then I have these expectations for them to be capable human beings. Right. But then whenever they show this capability, I'm like, no, you're too young for that.
No, I don't want to have this conversation. I was just telling Jeremy, I was like, I know, I'm so glad to be out of the years where if the kid's getting in trouble or getting disciplined, it's like total meltdown, you know, like ages 3 through, I don't know, TBD. 5-ish, 6. And now we're not having those meltdowns. Now she wants to have a full-blown conversation about how I'm disciplining her and the whys and the please, 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 please. And I'm just like, I don't want to spend 15 minutes talking about this with you. I just want to discipline you, and then you like go cry by yourself. I don't want to talk about it.
But then they're crying. You're like, why are you crying? Yeah. We're great. We're doing great.
We're doing so good.
Jeez.
Sarah, are you taking notes?
Yeah. I wrote, cry and ask for help. I'm just thinking of titles.
Before we move on to the main questions, I didn't know if you wanted to touch on either the miscarriage before Maisie or just the adding a second kid to the
so you want to lighten it up a bit?
Yeah.
Good.
One of those chestnuts would you like to dive into?
Oh, gosh.
Or not. I mean,
no, it's fine. Not. I think that I'm comfortable talking about it. I think about it every single day, so why not talk out loud about it? Also, crazy that all 3 of us have had this experience, and yet people still feel completely isolated and alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't want to cry again. Jesus Christ.
This is going to be everyone's favorite episode.
We're about to go really light in a minute.
We'll go, once we get done with the questions, then we'll head
we'll just talk about
Pop Culture Corner.
Stealing money from orphans and widows.
Yeah, you guys can talk about Bravo for 5 minutes.
I'm going to only talk about the light parts.
Oh, gosh.
I'm going to write in here, also add a funny question to your standard question.
Yeah. Man. No, I lost a pregnancy between mine. It was a decent amount of time after Elsie was born. Like, she was 2, almost 3. And I, just instantly felt nervous about it all. Like, it wasn't one of those things where with Elsie, of course, it was, shock because I'm like, oh, God, I don't even know this person. But I never questioned my ability to be, a mother with Elsie, which is interesting because when I got pregnant the second time, I was like, I can't do this again. This is, not gonna go well. Mm-hmm. And then, the way I found out I was pregnant is I was getting a strep test and had 2 positive test results, a positive pregnancy test and a positive strep test. And so I was vomiting with strep throat for 2 weeks. Mm-mm. And I found out week 3 of my pregnancy. So I found out really early with both of mine. Mm-hmm. Well, all 3 pregnancies. So I had a full 9 months of just in it. But we went to our first appointment, and it wasn't quite the size that they thought it should be, but they were going to wait 2 weeks. And then that 2 weeks, I just knew. You just know.
Not
you
happening.
See, it's just not, this isn't, the other thing that I couldn't quite get over was the fact that there was a dead fetus in me. Mm-hmm. That was really hard to, wait a full 2 weeks of just, everyone being so positive around me, but me fully knowing. And I remember a friend of mine said that she's very spiritual and kind of in tune with things. And she said that there was this, from the minute I said to her that I was pregnant, there was just this dark cloud kind of hovering over me. So, I felt it completely.
It's hard too when people, and maybe you're the same way, when people are super positive around me, I tend to be like, well, if everyone's being positive, someone's got to be on the other side. So I guess I'll fill that role. So then I'll end up being the strongest, I'll be the one. I'll
prove them.
Yeah, I'll prove all them wrong. Someone's got to be ready for the downside. I guess it'll be me.
Right. Oh, man. But yeah, so that 2 weeks came, and it was still the same spot, same size, everything. So they gave me the option of a DNC, but they said that it had already started to pass, so it would probably be faster and easier if I just let it happen naturally, which I do not recommend for a single person. It was the most traumatic moment of my entire life, was passing that thing.
Yeah.
Because then, what do you do with it? Sorry, can I get graphic? Is that okay?
Sure.
Sure.
But I mean, for real, like I was hemorrhaging for 2 hours to the point where you are just like losing so much blood. You're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And this is happening in my house with my daughter in the next room. And it's just like, it's just really hard. And then you go to the bathroom and you feel like, well, that felt different because there's blood clots that you're passing, but then there's just like, you see it. 2 weeks later, I guess there was a clot that had formed. So 2 weeks later, we were out at Rose Pepper and I went to the bathroom and just like, whoosh, like
Way too much.
Another hemorrhaging moment where I just said to Benji, I was like, I have to go home. I don't have anything here. Like, I thought this was over. So it was the exact same experience. But then I lost so much blood that I had just like completely passed out and had to be like transported to a hospital. And they were like measuring my blood. They gave me all this medication to produce more blood faster because they didn't want to have to do a blood transfusion. And I had to stay there for 2 days. It was just like
Right, on top of
horrendous. Yeah.
Wow.
everything you'd already been
My
through.
charge nurse that night was pregnant, which I felt was extra cruel.
Yes.
But yeah, it was rough. And then there was a healing period because my body was so weak because I had lost so much blood that my skin was like gray for a couple, like I feel like for a couple weeks it was like that. And, you know, it was like not only the mental trauma, but also the physical trauma that my body went through. And my OB told me not to even try to get pregnant for at least a year. And I got pregnant with Maisie 6 months later.
Right, and you separated yourself from most of that pregnancy.
Oh,
from
God,
what I remember
yeah.
you telling me, correct? Like emotionally, you were like, I don't believe this baby's going to be here until this baby is
I don't think
actually
we
here.
even did her nursery until I was in my 3rd trimester.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kept staying busy. I just like kept piling work on.
Right.
I just figured out how can I stay the most busy right now to where I don't have to think about any of this. And I felt very, very detached emotionally from that pregnancy. But then it was like, it hit me that it was happening. And I was like, oh God, this is actually happening. Mm-hmm. And then her delivery was just like that.
Yeah.
She latched immediately. Like everything was just so perfect. Like,
Yeah. Did she bring a lot of healing from that experience with her when she
I
was
think
born?
so. Yeah. I mean, I know so.
Yeah.
She's added to our family so much that
Oh, she's so freaking cute. Can't
she
deal
is
with
like
her.
painfully cute.
She's-
And I know I'm impartial, but like she's just like
she's
really cute.
Yeah, she's.
No,
I
she
want
is,
to punch her
yeah.
in the face.
And
'cause
she
she's
knows
so
it.
cute.
Debatable.
Yeah.
She knows it. You should see her school pictures that we got.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. She's like, and yesterday at gymnastics, she was like walking out to the gym and just like pulled her straps down so that her shoulders were exposed and then just goes, and just kept walking. Like, you can't stop me from in here. The gate's closed. Like, I can do what I want in here.
I can pull my straps down if I want to.
Yeah. No, she's amazing. She's hilarious and cute and snuggly and drives everybody crazy, but we love her so much.
What do you wish someone would have told you before you had kids?
I don't know. I've been looking at these questions for a while and I like can't think of an answer for that just because there's so many things that I try to tell other moms before they deliver, but I realize that people
matter.
probably told me these things.
Right.
And I just didn't listen because I
Right.
had no idea.
Yeah.
It's like you
know.
talk about that love that you feel that's a totally different kind of love the second you meet your baby. That it's just this like, I'm different. I'm a different person now that I've just met this human. Mm-hmm. And I say that a lot, but nobody understands it because you don't know it until you feel it. I guess just that you're not failing. If you're worried about failing, you're not failing.
Right.
Because that means that you are at least trying.
You're aware of your failures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also just trying. And I think that anyone who puts in the effort is doing something right.
Yeah.
But
What do you do for yourself? What fills the well? What helps you, keeps you afloat, rejuvenates you? Are you able to give yourself anything like that?
I like.
Besides alcohol.
Okay, yeah, no, that's a no-brainer. That's just a
Yeah,
staple.
not medicating, yeah. No, I mean, it can be that, honestly. Let's not discount that.
Yeah, no. Well, I have a therapist who I really, really love and find incredibly helpful. I also, I don't know if obsessed is the right word, but I follow every single thing that happens on Bravo. I listen to all the podcasts. I watch all the shows. I follow the Instagram accounts of not the actual housewives, but the people who talk about the housewives.
Yes.
Like, I feel like those are my people.
Me too.
I've never, I mean, that's exclusively how I engage with you.
Yeah.
Is just over Bravo, because it is such a niche community where you can just literally block out everything else and just get so involved in the most insane drama that's so stupid, but yet it just makes me feel better.
Yeah, it's an escape for sure.
Yeah.
Pop culture corner it is.
I was going to talk about Erica Jane, but the other night I practiced because I think we saw in the second episode, if anybody listened to that, how poorly it goes if I don't. Not that it went, I mean, it just wasn't that good. So it was 14 minutes long talking about Erica Jane, and I had barely scratched the surface. So there's really just no way. I mean, I have to have a spinoff to talk about that.
Which I'm game for co-hosting, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
The look that Sarah just gave Shannon was like, when are we going to bang, though? While Bravo is on.
Gotta go.
Shannon and I are going to need a moment alone, please.
Just kidding. I'm sweating. Okay, just gather.
Erica Jane. You were going to talk about Erica Jane.
I was going to talk about her. That would take too long. I would love to do that. But instead, I'm going to talk about what's really my favorite thing. What gives me other than my baby and like the things in life, like my husband, like sweet moments, like things in life that give me joy. Right now, what gives me, you can go. You know what? I only need a minute.
We going in? All right, here we go.
So here's my minute.
Go.
The thing that gives me the most joy in life right now is seeing Kathy Hilton on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Kathy Hilton is, I'm just going to act like you've seen it, and if you haven't, don't listen. The sister of Kyle Richards and Kim Richards, who, I mean, God, bring Kim back. Seriously. Just make them a show. She was in Escape from Mitch Mountain, which was one of my favorite movies when I was little. And then she was in some other stuff, and that's not the point. The point is Kathy Hilton, mother of Paris and Nikki. I made some notes for the day.
Pause?
No. It's just a love letter to Kathy Hilton.
Great,
I feel like there's no purer feeling in like the Bravo universe than...
What's so great about her?
Oh, right.
Oh, God, she's amazing.
Sorry, I just feel it so deeply. She's like the embodiment of camp, and I'd love to say, I haven't had time to read like the full Susan Sontag definition of camp. I have read a lot of it. I just know that I love camp and... General, is that my 1 minute?
No.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to end on that Susan Sontag thing. That sounded gross.
No, but I do. What do you mean?
She is
what
like,
does camp mean?
Like a love for like an ironically like something that's like so bad it's good.
Yeah. Right.
And that's not what Kathy Hilton is, but she's like funny in this way that's just so.
She's like truly authentic. Yeah. I have every ounce in my being believes that you showing up for coffee at her estate is exactly what you see on TV. Mm-hmm. She's drinking her Slim Fast.
Thank you.
She's got her PJs on while she's letting the other housewives film at her house, but yet she refuses to wake up earlier than when she wants to wake up.
Which is like 11.
Yeah. She has
Is she one of the housewives?
Yes.
She's a friend of this year.
Yes.
But she's a sister of of the longest still standing housewife on Beverly Hills franchise. And, I think I said already, but mother of Paris and Nikki. So like kind of a godmother of reality TV.
And she's held out for so long. And I think she's coming in at the exact right time because there had to be like a stable kind of sounding presence for this season. Because they're all so either terrified of each other or batshit crazy that you need somebody who just doesn't give a shit.
Right.
And who's just like...
constant.
I'm going to prep for 3 days on this meal, and you guys are going to ruin it, but I'm going to spend $50,000 on caviar pie. And just like, I'm going to shut you down because you annoy me, but I will let this fight happen.
Yes, because this is going to be good for ratings.
Meanwhile, Lisa Rinna is wasted with a dog on her lap, ringing a bell, just like there. It's just, oh my God. Last week's episode was perfection.
It was perfect.
Oh my God.
I would watch her. She does some Instagram lives. I would watch her do anything.
Anything.
Yeah. Maybe she'll listen to this podcast. And
I forgot the most important thing. I buried the lead, which is
every time
in 2019. So I may be a little biased because we have some history. Because in 2019, Kathy liked one of my stories on Instagram.
Wait, what?
Don't mean to brag.
Dang.
She did.
What was it about?
It was me at maybe my first or second, I think it was the first doctor's appointment with Parker. I was pregnant with Parker, and I was like a callback recently off of Vyvanse at the time. Like, and so I was just really spacey, and it's like me with like a psychedelic kind of filter. Mm-hmm. And she just put 2 smiley faces. I'll post that.
Yeah.
Yes.
With this episode.
Yeah,
so you
that
can
sounds
see.
great.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We'll let her know she has
I'm like
her own segment
speechless.
at the end.
I know.
I really have no words.
I think about it often.
You already have an in with her, so it shouldn't be.
Her profile's raised.
Shouldn't be a big deal.
I'll call her.
Shannon, thank you so much for your honesty and vulnerability.
I hope everyone is in a space where they can, like,
Handle
decompress
it.
from this.
Right. We'll have to put a warning.
I know.
Not for
seriously.
your sake. I mean, not for like your part.
And yours too, Sarah. Your vulnerability too.
Thanks.
So yeah, I guess to any moms listening out there, you are
Hang in there.
You are enough. You're doing a great job. Hang in there. No, none of us know what we're doing.
Keep trucking.
Yeah. One day at a time. I've never experienced that more than once you have children. It really is just getting through the day.
Oh, I think about things that I thought were problems, and I'm like,
No. Everything is easier.
yeah.